Top level game after top level game. I mean, over the last couple of weeks, I've been casting games from the best players in the world, and today is no different. Today, it's time for a Terran versus Protoss between two players of the highest caliber. Spawning here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, Death Aura, playing with the light blue Terran SCVs. From South Korea, we have the highest ranked Terran player in the world, and he goes by the name of Maru. His opponent, playing with the Protoss Probes. I think that this man is my personal favorite Protoss player. I mean, he's a fantastic streamer, fantastic Protoss player. He's got some of the best micro in the world. Arguably speaking, actually, the best micro on the planet. We are, of course, looking at none other than PartinG's main Nexus. Now, PartinG already starting this game off with a little bit of a cheeky proxy. There's a pylon right over here inside of the natural of Maru. And if I'm not mistaken, if he decides to plant down a gateway right over here, which is, I think, what he's planning on doing, if a SCV starts building a command center right here over here on the low ground, I'm pretty sure, there we go by the way, it's not going to be able to spot that gateway. Love that little move right there as well by PartinG, just making it look like this. You know, he made a little bit of a weird angle right there, but just making it look right there to the Terran player that that probe totally came from the other side of the map, right away into the main base here of the Terran. Gas being stolen as well, and this is what PartinG does. So Maru, of course, I mean, this guy's ridiculously good at playing the defensive style, so if anyone is going to be able to defend this kind of stuff, it is certainly going to be Maru. But PartinG loves being in your face. He's a big fan of just being very aggressive in the early game, just trying to utilize, you know, that micro that he's got, that he's very well known for, even now steals a little bit of gas. Now, this is what I'm talking about. You see this? This is very specifically a feature on this map. I've seen this happen a couple of times right now. Terran players, technically speaking, could move their SCV like right over there and then they would see it. But with the natural building progression right over here, the SCV, even when it scoots all the way to the left, it does not actually see this gateway. So this is going to be a dead command center. There it is. So Maru at this point finally figures out what's going on. Insta-cancel. He did decide to go for... Hold up, one Marine. I was going to say, where is it? But obviously it was working right there. On either that probe or maybe the assimilator. Regardless, this is already a little bit of a tricky scenario right now for the Terran. So, bunker is coming up, factory is coming up as well. Since he doesn't have the second gas right now, he's not going to be able to very easily transition into a Stargate. So I guess he will be going for the command center here eventually. There we go. This is just put right outside of vision range right there of the assimilator. I like that. Making sure that he is not going to be able to get full information. PartinG, that is. Eventually, though, this will likely be pushed back, but this is one of the more annoying ways that you can open up in this matchup, right? So the Nexus, of course, has been acquired on the other side of the map. A couple of Zealots are hanging out over here as well. Actually, there was a second Zealot. Where is it? Oh, it's marching. I guess it checked out the bottom left-hand corner to see if maybe there was like a proxy Stargate or Starport, rather, coming up in that location. Not gonna quite be the case, but PartinG is still gonna be here for another little while, and this is just a very annoying situation to have to deal with. Actually, like, there's gonna be a couple Stalkers here as well. There's a Stargate coming up right now on the other side of the map. Pretty sure that PartinG does not plan on leaving here anytime soon. Now, you gotta keep in mind, there's no Stimpack upgrade or anything along those lines coming, so it's not like Maru can just start running down this ramp and, you know, be able to push this back super easily. He's gonna be forced to very slowly approach this this expansion right now, whereas Protoss obviously is happily sitting there on the other side of the map. Zealots do have more DPS than Stalkers. They get a couple of Marines. I mean, they're basically dead, right? So it's all good. And once more, this gets pushed back. This is so painful. If I was a Terran player, I would absolutely hate playing against what PartinG is doing here. This is some of the most annoying SC2 that you can go up against, and well, PartinG is showing us how it's done. Warp Gate is actually just about to finish. He is getting himself a couple of Phoenixes as well. So I guess the Phoenixes will be able to deal with any counterattacks or anything along those lines. But he can actually continue warping in units if he wants to. I mean, I don't know if he will, but he can. He could certainly continue this harassment for a little while longer. Okay, maybe he's going to be pushed back here eventually. No. This is such a pain in the butt. Is he actually looking to take a third Nexus right now as well? In the meantime, by the way, there is a little bit of a flyby, I suppose. Couple of Hellions inside of that Medivac. Very nicely done. I think Maru's finally going to be able to get some power in. There we go. How many of these bad boys is he going to be able to roast? Or I guess roast, I don't know. They're not biological, right? There is a little bit of harassment over here. That command center once again gets denied, but with those the Phoenixes being out of energy here, that is 10 probes going down. Nicely done there by Maru, finally getting a little bit of damage out there. Now, obviously, that's the downside of having your Stalkers on the other side of the map, right? I think eventually he's gonna have to get on out of here. Still tries to set up the concave. He doesn't have... Oh my god, PartinG, you're such a pain. He doesn't have like blink or anything like that, right? So being stuck in this little nuke over here is not ideal. He's actually gonna continue fighting. Oh my god, here we go. He's just gonna lift up the siege tank. And apparently he's gonna try and pick it off there. It will go down. Raven also falls. At the cost of a couple of Stalkers, I would say that's worthwhile. Imagine if PartinG did this absolutely perfectly and he wouldn't have actually lost any of those units over here, right? If he would have warped in like one additional Stalker at home, he would have been in such a dominating lead right now. I mean, those 10 worker kills, or I guess 11 probes right now in total, really put Maru back in this game. Without that, I'm actually a little bit worried that it would just be game over with like a follow-up push. Now, PartinG is overstaying his welcome a little bit. On his way out, though, he is going to be able to grab a couple of SCVs as well. Eventually, all of this will be shut down, but I'm pretty sure he's already planning on going for a third Nexus here very, very shortly. So, additional gateways are coming up. More Phoenixes are on the production tab as well. Would not be surprised to see him going here for that blink upgrade in a little bit as well. In the meantime, though, Maru right now making the transition here towards additional barracks. Notice the way that they are positioned. This is for the big switcheroo, where you lift up the factory and then also that starport, and then you put the barracks on there instead. Now, one Banshee. That Banshee feels a little bit desperate to me, right? PartinG knows that something was in production there, so he knows that there is something out here. I mean, he hasn't seen a Viking, he hasn't seen a Medivac. It was on a tech lab, so he knows at least that the potential for a Banshee is there. Banshees, of course, can only shoot to the ground. So this one is basically toast as soon as the Phoenixes sniff out that it's out there. That said, though, obviously, if he can get it across the map, that is quite nice. Alrighty, so +1 infantry weapons here is coming up. Maru, by the way, I mean, I've been really highlighting PartinG here, but Maru is ridiculously good when it comes to playing this defensive style. I casted a game between him and Innovation not that long ago. In case you haven't seen that match, I'll go ahead and post a link to it down below in the description of this one. It's a really good match. And it shows you how resilient this guy actually is. So, with the Phoenix right now being recalled here, this Banshee is going to sacrifice its life, but that is 3 probe kills there, plus a lot of pressure off of the back of the main base. Anyhow, Maru is really good at being defensive, right? So he's actually even ahead right now in supply. Pretty sure 99% of the Terran players would have lost the game at this point. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a lot of pressure. It's very easy to accidentally lose a little bit too much, or end up losing the orbital command, or commit a little bit too hard, and then lose all of the units in the main base when the Phoenixes fly by. Maru is very good at crawling himself into games like this, and even though he seems to be on his belly, right? Forced to, like, crawl on the floor, he's still going to be able to get up eventually. In the meantime, though, on the side of the Protoss, we see additional gateways coming up. The Robo Bay was produced as well, and now we have a Colossus. So the Colossi, obviously, fantastic. There's actually already one of those bad boys out. Apparently, it went on a bit of an adventure. Probably with the rally point right there of the Observer, yeah. Oftentimes what we see is that the rally point for the Observer is set, and then the Colossus or the Immortal wanders to their death. It happens a little bit too often, in my opinion. But, I mean, mistakes are made, believe it or not, humans. Or rather, pro gamers are humans. I was going to say humans are pro gamers, but I guess technically the truth. Not as descriptive as I was looking for, though. So, 3rd CC finishes up. Couple SCV kills here will go down. But in the meantime, this Terran army is marching across. There are force fields available. Extended thermal lens is not quite done yet, so the Colossi are still at their default range. This is not bad, though. Yeah, if you manage to get on top of this Terran army, it might actually be alright. That said, is this gonna be okay? Yeah, I guess it will be. Nice move right there, once again by PartinG. Very decisive decision there. Decisive decision? I guess that's a little... Anyway. It's very easy to, like, not take that call and not make that call and try to sit back until your extended thermal lens finishes up. That's gonna make cleaning up these pushes much easier. PartinG, though, looked at it and he realized, okay, this is where we're gonna fight. I know that I can win it. I'll bring the Phoenixes back home as well. We should be okay here eventually. And that's a bit of a desperation move right there by Maru, right? Like, that's him trying to see if he can get anything done. Stimp to try and see if he could actually get the Phoenixes. I mean, he even stimped the Marauder there. which at least indicates to me that it looked a little bit desperate. Fourth Nexus is coming up. Maru, though, still looking absolutely fine when it comes to the supply count. He is making that big transition right now towards a lot of Marauders and Siege Tanks, which is going to be fantastic against this army right over here of the Protoss. So Colossi, for those of you unfamiliar, they used to be good against everything back in the day. These days, though, they are specialized in killing light units. Now, what light units does the Terran player have in these scenarios? Well, it's mostly the Marines. So the Marines will absolutely get toasted right there by those Colossi, but the Marauders, they are not light. So they are very, very, solid, very beefy against these Colossi. I think that's also the reason why we already see the Templar Archives right now researching that Psionic Storm upgrade. It's going to give him a second source of splash damage right now. Wouldn't be surprised to see Disruptors and Archons joining in the fray as well eventually. That will give the Protoss access to literally every single source of splash damage that they have. In the meantime, though, the Terran player. He's getting himself the Ghost out. I love this upgrade right over here. The Ghost Academy, getting himself the enhanced shockwaves ability. That's a EMP improvement, so the EMP obviously fantastic against everything Protoss. Especially against the High Templar, though. It's not as fancy of an animation as, say, for example, Psionic Storm or Fungal Growth or say like a Parasitic Bomb, but it is certainly one of the most powerful spells in the game. So having those ghosts into the mix is going to be very nice, so they already have enough energy right here for that EMP. And as soon as this one finishes, the range of that EMP, or I guess the radius, like the area that it covers, is going to be increased as well. Now, Maru has been forced into a very passive position, though, for most of this game, right? He's gotten a good amount of damage done, though, with the units that he did send across. I don't think he's going to be able to really move out here anytime soon. Well, here's a nice little push, apparently, from PartinG. Ooh, enhanced shockwaves ability does get denied there. Apparently, though, Maru does not care. He's not going to be able to move out until he's got that shockwaves ability really done. So, I mean, it could try, but he just repositions the Ghost Academy in the exact same spot. One Hero Zealot apparently forcing the liftoff there as well, or at the very least preventing this command center from ever finishing morphing into a planetary fortress. I think that's the reason that PartinG is also out on the map. Now notice the way that PartinG is maneuvering his army, right? This is why I'm a fan. Most Protoss players, whenever they have army, they will sit over here, or like literally anywhere, right? At home. PartinG loves being in your face. Once again, decides to go for that Ghost Academy, keeps denying the enhanced shockwaves ability. There he goes. This is a massive pain in the ass. Now, obviously, this is also coming at a bit of a risk, because these dropships can certainly be a very big nuisance. But so far, I mean, he's got Phoenixes patrolling here on the left. He's got a couple of Stalkers over here preventing, I guess, the top section of the map as well. This is fine, right? So being in your opponent's face, while technically a bit of a gamble, especially if they stim in and you're not paying attention, if you're doing a good job, you can defend against everything, regardless of where your main army is positioned. There's the Disruptors, by the way. We're going into a heavy micro force here from PartinG. I feel like every single game that I've casted of Maru recently is him doing this exact same thing, though. He's like forced into such a defensive posture. Now, he's very good at it, don't get me wrong. But it feels like he's always up with his back against the wall, you know? He seems to crawl back, though, in pretty much all of these matches. But, yeah, it's difficult. It certainly is difficult. Kind of reminds me of the way that a lot of Zerg players approach the game, where, generally speaking, they spend most of the early game or the first, like, 10 minutes of the match just playing super defensively and just trying to deflect everything with minimal amounts of units, and then, you know, eventually they can overwhelm. That's kind of the approach that Maru has taken in this game, too. Now, one thing that he does have going for himself is these double upgrades, right? So, Terran has, actually, I guess it's triple upgrades. Terran will finish up all of these upgrades right around the same time, or at least in the same, like, 20 or so seconds. That's going to make him, you know, be able to execute a maxed out push. So, currently, Maru is maxed out. We have 199 supply, I guess, on the board right now, with Jimmy and his pal dying. There you go. Man, Jimmy. Jeez, dude. Anyhow, he's going to be able to go for a push out if he wants to. Enhanced shockwaves will also finally be able to finish up. This time around, by the way, he did replace that little nuke over there. I didn't realize that yet, with a bunker rather than a Ghost Academy. So the Ghost Academy has been put into the main. He's getting the Ghost Cloaking ability, and also a nuke has been queued up. So that's something, right? That's nice. Fusion Core is coming up, actually, in the meantime. Nice Medivac drop right over here for Maru. Manages to clean up a lot of his opponent's zealots there. So 41 zealots actually have already gone down in this game so far. There is the Dark Templar. Blink ability now also being researched here for PartinG. He's got himself the Fleet Beacon ready to go as well. There's a couple additional Stargates coming up. So I think we're setting ourselves up for some nice late game Terran versus Protoss, man. I love that. Excited to see where this is going to go. Alright. Maru's got the upgrade done. Enhanced shockwaves. 3rd time's the charm. Maru does not know, well, now he does. He did not know about the existence there of the disruptors on his side of the map. I think that Maru is just trying to use this army right now, though, to just go in for like a 5th base. I think that's what he's trying to get done. There is a large amount of units over here as well. Don't think they're going to be able to get too much done, although that said, I mean, the Dark Templar can just blink across and maybe take out these siege tanks. This will be spotted, though. I mean, as soon as they get in range right there of the missile turret. You know what? Oh. Okay, he's coming around from the side. Okay, let's see how this goes. Is he gonna blink on top of it? He will. That means that these siege tanks are toast. Zealots right now going in for the kill as well. And that means that they're gonna be able to get up a sandwich right there on that bunker. That now opens up the door right here for these zealots to start some harassment. At the same time, PartinG was attempting a little bit of aggression over here. But I think that was mostly just a distraction to try and get these units into the 3rd base. It's not gonna be able to deal too much damage, but nicely done. The cloaking upgrade is, by the way, done, and that means that indeed the nuke is coming up. I like it. There's the ranged upgrade as well. So we see some late game upgrades here coming up for Maru. The ranged upgrade for the Liberators, that is. They may be wondering, there are no Liberators. Why is he getting it already? It's just in anticipation. Okay. Carriers, by the way, are apparently going to come up here as well. Man. This is not your ordinary game of Terran versus Protoss. This is 2 players respecting each other enough. Knowing very well that the opponent is not going to roll over anytime soon. Well, there's some Liberators finally. It's not for a lack of trying, of course. I mean, PartinG is constantly trying to see if he can end this game. Maru, not so much, but both players are just, yeah, aware of the fact that the opponent is very good, of course. So they're trying their very best to just transition here towards the late game. God. Almost just saw a couple of disruptors right there blowing up a command center. Not quite something we see all the time. Now, yeah, the carriers were spotted. So a scan right there did reveal to Maru what the plan is. Ooh. Big sonic storm, apparently. That is the reason why we do see a lot of Vikings here coming up. Did he cancel the nuke or something? He didn't use a nuke. Oh, no, he's got 2 Ghost Academies. Okay, I was going to say. He's got 2 Ghost Academies right next to each other. Dark Templar over here as well, being a bit of a pain. There we go, guys. The first nuke is sent across the map. Oh, he already took care of it. I was going to say, where is that ghost? I heard the scream. That was my ghost impression right there. 10 out of 10, I would say. Yeah, it was already killed right away. With that, obviously, the nuke is gone. But new nukes are already on that production tab once again. This really does remind me a little bit, though, of Terran versus Zerg, right? Where Terran is playing hyper defensively, maybe go for a couple of attacks every once in a while, but Maru is playing this super passively. I'm actually starting to get a little bit concerned. I don't know if this is the correct approach. I mean, the thing is, right, if you're ever in this scenario and Protoss just gets more bases out, so right now I guess it's even, but Protoss is at least... Actually, no, it's not even. Like, there's a base missing over here for Terran. Protoss is already, like, a full base ahead right now. If he manages to get 2 bases up, I'm pretty sure that's too much. Now, here we go. This is a lady with a mission. The nuke once again is coming up. This time around, it's going to be on the static defense. At the same time, there is a small little hit squad right here of Marines and Marauders trying to go to the back of the mineral line right over here. Looks like this nuke will land. It's only going to be able to get rid of a couple of those static defensive structures. At the same time, though, the carriers apparently have made their way across. Another nuke right now is being deployed once more. Carriers are being shot at by these Vikings. By the way, the nuke is going to be in the same spot, so I think that PartinG will end up losing quite a few of these photon cannons once more. Cancels it at the last second, so at least that prevents him from losing too many resources. Nothing too crazy so far, right? I love the fact that there's like a bunch of High Templar and a bunch of units sprinkled all over the map here. Nice snipe there by Maru. Alright, now, I'm liking this position for PartinG a lot, though. Despite the fact that he hasn't really been able to get a lot of damage in. I mean, he's finally getting a bit of damage in right now. Both players are losing quite a few units here in the grand scheme of things. And while his unit composition is maybe not going to be the best right here in the late game, he is getting a lot of money, right? And that's why it reminds me of a lot of the Zerg games right now. Oftentimes in the Zerg matches at this point in the meta, we don't really see the Zerg players trying to make the most powerful army that they can. Instead, they try to overwhelm the opponent with more stuff, right? So in SC2, even though you have obviously unit counters, in general, the tendency is that more stuff beats less stuff. So as long as you're mining more, right? I mean, if you manage to mine out 2 more bases than your opponent, it doesn't really matter all too much what you produce, because you're going to be able to just simply make way more shit than they can, right? Or stuff. Sorry, what did I just say? Oh my god, Lowko, think of the children. Alright, another nuke. I tried, guys. My camera work there was not as good. Is he gonna really try and move forward here? Oh my god. That is so risky, bro! Jeez. Alright. I don't know if it's worth necessarily sacrificing, you know, the potential of your entire army there. Another nuke. Being sent across once again. This time around, though, the nuke was cancelled there manually by the Terran player to run away from those disruptor balls. Is he really getting rid of his own Colossi right now? Oh my god! He's getting rid of his own Colossi in favor of Stalkers. We see this in Zerg versus Protoss every once in a while, where like the Zerg spends the whole game trying to get rid of the Immortals, and then at some point the Protoss is like, I don't need those anymore. Let's just give the Protoss Immortals away instead and see how that goes, to warp in some higher quality units. Apparently now the same thing right here happened with the Colossi. He's replacing the Colossi with Stalkers, which technically I guess is a tech down, but it's going to be helpful right here against the heavy amount of Vikings that are currently available. What a crazy game. It doesn't happen too often that we go late game Terran versus Protoss, but whenever it does happen, I love it, man. Alright, so this base, even though there's technically more mining, I suppose, it's likely not going to get too much done. Now, there is a big nuke being deployed right over here. Once again, the Vikings are getting some insane value, right? So there's the nuke landing. At the same time, we do have that hit squad over here taking care of a Nexus. Okay, these are important moves, right? So even though there's a base over here, there's really no mining other than one gas, I suppose. Another nuke will be utilized once again to try and get rid of this expansion once and for all. But this kind of like evens up the amount of resources that both of these guys are getting. That's very critical. Is he going to nuke his own? No. Almost thought he was going to be able to nuke his own Liberator there. The cost efficiency right here of Terran, yeah, I was going to say, it's very noticeable in the game, and you can see it right here as well in resources lost. So this is significantly less resources lost so far here by the Terran. Pretty sure PartinG just wins most of his games with peer pressure, right? Like he's just, or pure pressure rather, he's just constant peer pressure. He's just constantly trying to, you know, harass his opponent left, right, and center. And I'm pretty sure most Terran players that he's going up against will crawl, you know, will not crawl back up, I suppose. Oh my god, a double nuke? Really? I love 2020 StarCraft, dude. Alright, well, that's one way to get rid of this base. There it is. The Marines actually also stim away there. And that means that the Nexus falls. At the same time, carrier hit squad made their way a little bit further up north. This is a scary force. They do have good upgrades as well. I think that he's going to be able to continue here for a little while longer. Now, those Liberator range, though, are fantastic, right? Okay. Maru immediately sets up missile turrets again. This reminds me of the Spore Crawlers, man, that we see a lot against carriers as well in ZVP. This is crazy. Like, this is not something we have a whole lot. I think I mentioned at the beginning of the game that I don't know if I'm going to be able to, like, keep up the quality of games that I've been posting on the YouTube channel recently. All of these matches are from the War Chest Team League. Some of them are a little bit older, but man, are this... Oh my god, look at this! This would be a highlight of an average TVP, right? 20 Dark Templar or whatever coming in, sniping a planetary fortress. This is just one of the highlights in this game. Anyways, I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep this up, because obviously these games have a bit of a lifespan as well. I have casted the vast majority of the best ones. But geez, have I been enjoying this. in general, it's difficult to get games from both PartinG and Maru, and I've been casting lots of them over the course of the last couple of weeks. Fantastic. Whew. Alrighty. I'm just sitting here with a big smile. At some point, my cast will devolve to only action sounds. Where the only thing I'm doing is like, ooh, ah, whoa, whoa, ah. That's gonna be me next year, dude. I'm not gonna be able to contain myself anymore. It's been 10 years, though, and the skill level is still rising. I didn't think that that was possible. I thought we had some amazing SC2 and Wings of Liberty. Fantastic. I just want to emphasize how hard it is to control any of these hotkeys. Let alone, like, 8 of them. Alrighty. So while there is a skirmish happening here down south, I feel like the real engagement is up here, man. So the fact that PartinG has had this base up right now for a little bit already, I really would like to see him utilize these mineral patches and that gas, especially the high yield gas, a little bit more, because gas is a super scarce resource here in the late game for the Protoss. I mean, worst case scenario, you have to make Archons, right? It's like, okay, that's never a worst case scenario. Like, that's pretty much always good. Ooh, nicely done right there. Good EMPs once again. There's a lot of Vikings available, though, so I'm a little bit anxious here for PartinG. These Vikings are going to be able to shoot those these carriers out of the sky very easily. There we go. And without the Vikings underneath, disruptors, though, woo! They managed to get some massive hits. Great control there by PartinG. In the meantime, he does lose all of the carriers. The base, I guess, is also gone, but barely worth mentioning at this point because there's no mining resources there anymore anyway. I mean, a couple of very low mineral, what do you call them? Like mineral patches, I guess. Alrighty, so as this game progresses, even though we've gone all the way to the highest tech, players are going back right now to Stalkers and Zealots and Marines and Marauders. Awesome moves right here by PartinG, who's really starting to put on the pressure once again. He looked a little bit more passive there for a little bit, but right now, apparently, he's flipped the switch, and he's continued the harassment here once again, right? Moving all the way from the top section of the map right now down south. Amazing play right here by PartinG. Really showcasing us what his strengths are, right? Just continuous harassment, insane multitasking, and really, like, really solid decision-making as well. By the way, I think we are in a bit of a lull right now. I brought up in one of the previous casts that I did at Protoss versus Protoss that a lot of the top-level Protoss players are going to be forced to do their military duty very soon. Apparently, PartinG has managed to delay his. So he tweeted about this, which is amazing. Pretty sure he's going to be the highest-ranked Protoss player in the world very soon, if he isn't already. Anyhow. Yeah, if you're a Protoss player, how can you not be a fan of PartinG? It's fantastic. Or if you're a fan of StarCraft, really. Look at this. The Vikings decide to land because there's no more carriers to kill. Now, Vikings actually deal bonus damage to mechanical, which is surprisingly good right here against this Protoss army. Liberators are slow pushing forward, and there we go, man. This is what the Wings of Liberty developers had in mind. A unit that wasn't just used flying. He's going to be able to slow push here. Very slowly, but he's going to be able to slow push. Love the fact that he's still producing nukes. They are a little expensive, but they are fantastic in these scenarios. Now, nice blink forward right there as well by PartinG. Prevents that ghost from landing the nuke. Does sacrifice a couple of Stalkers here in the process. Maru, by the way, despite all of this, is now 20 supply ahead. Don't know how this man does it. Feel like he's been behind the whole game long, but whenever I glance at the bottom of the screen, he's ahead supply-wise. Oh, he's got to be careful, though, yeah. These Psionic Storms are lethal. He's losing a couple units here and there. At the same time, couple Dark Templar, apparently, once again, are going to be available here. I think this may be the main base or something along those lines. Apparently, well, the 2 Dark Templar over there are fine with their brothers cleaning up the job. Looks like eventually the photon cannons here have fallen, and with that, most of the mining of this base as well. Supply count right now, dead even. But PartinG did secure the base up here. This is huge, man. Like, PartinG essentially in this entire game long has been mining a base more than his opponent. And I feel like that may very well become Maru's downfall. Because despite the fact that he's like trying his best to kill this base over here, this is basically irrelevant. PartinG is just buying time to mine out this expansion here instead. I mean, he's mining it with way too many workers, and obviously he's taking very supply-inefficient trades. Now, these trades are great. Even if this base gets killed, which it looks like it might be here eventually, PartinG doesn't even really care about this base. He cares about buying time so the other base can mine, right? That's his goal right now. So, every minute that goes by at this point, oof. If you look right here at the income tab, you can see that the income is heavily in favor right now of the Protoss. And despite the fact that Maru is taking some sloppy trades right now as well here at the end, despite the fact that he's been trading well throughout this game, he's starting to fall behind. He's starting to fall behind very heavily here. The only mining that he's got going on right now is this base over here. Base down south has been harassed 17 times. One probe right now went over here as well to check. This is almost BM right now. Oh my god, PartinG decides to grab one of the expansions that's supposed to be the Terrans. Big disruptor hit once again. I think that PartinG has this one in the bag. Some amazing StarCrafts being played here, man. This may be the highest game of Protoss I've ever seen. Fantastic. From start to finish, that was an absolutely gorgeous game right there by PartinG. Now, obviously, I don't want to take anything away here from Maru, right? Maru was up with his back against the wall from the very start of the game, and he actually crawled himself into it as well. I'm thinking that he's just played a little bit too passively. I think he needed to, like, maybe execute some more drops. Now, I understand that that is extremely difficult against such a strong Protoss player, but he really let Protoss do a little bit too much, right? He never actually went for a timing attack. Like, for example, when he finished +2/+2 for his infantry, the armory upgrade as well, and then the enhanced shockwaves, right? He finished all of that around the same time that he maxed out. There was the potential for a timing attack right then and there, and I really feel like if he would have gone for that, maybe there would have been a chance to at the very least slow down this Protoss. Maru was playing exceptionally passively here in this game, and I guess that works against weaker Protosses, but over time, PartinG just simply grew bigger than his opponent, and, well, this is the end result. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I mean, if you're a fan of StarCraft, I can imagine that you did. But anyways, if you did, hit that like button down below. If you want to see more, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button so you get notified as soon as future videos go live. A special shout out to the YouTube members as well. Thank you very much for joining the community and supporting the channel directly. I appreciate you. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an awesome day. Don't forget to smile. And I'll see you once again in the next one.